what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy. It's a very fun game to watch. It's not film you dread. It's film you look forward to, and it's because it was basically perfect on both sides of the ball. I mean, at one point in the first half, before Mississippi State had the drive when it was 24-0, and they get the touchdown right before half, at one point, Jake, you had outgained the Bulldogs 297-7. 297 to 7. And it's kind of interesting because at both sides of the ball, the first play wasn't great. First play, State comes out, they throw a first down. You're like, oh, my God, what's going to happen here? But then you know what happened? Well, you had a beautiful run fit from Whit Weeks, who we'll talk more and more about, the young freshman. Looking good, wear number 40, instinctual. We told you this is a good game for him. And, well, that is Whit, right? And West is older. Nobody could remember
40,
on Saturday.
West
yes.
33.
Yes, I'm just making sure. So great run fit by Whit. Then you had a line bust that led to Savion Jones getting big pressure. And then some really good team zone coverage. And Harold Perkins getting kind of accelerating Will Rogers' clock. Anyway, so they get that first out, then they immediately go 3 and out. You get the ball offensively. You immediately get the false start first play. And then after that, well, just like the defense, everything was perfect, man. And every now and then you get a game right in terms of how it's going to play out. And the offensive lines and the defensive lines absolutely dominated this game. And we'll obviously talk a ton of Jaden Daniels because Jaden Daniels was near perfect. 30 of 34, 361 through the air, 2 touchdowns, 15 more carries for 64 more yards, 2 touchdowns. So it's at a total of over 420 yards, over 80% completion, 4 touchdowns. He was perfect. Malik Nabers, awesome. But you know what makes their job a lot easier when they can just stand back there and just hang out. And he had clean pocket after clean pocket. So just an absolute dominant day in the trenches, Jake, just like we kind of said it was going to be.
Yeah, you dictated everything in the trenches, and that was going to be the story of the game. And you turn on the tape, and we saw that, and you're wondering, okay, well, how much of that is because Arizona maybe is a little light up front? Well, that didn't really matter. That story was told off that tape, and you got to trust your eyes after you watch that. And so you felt like that LSU was going to have some advantages, and what could they do with those advantages? Well, they dominated in those advantages, and again, they dictated everything in that game. There was nothing that Mississippi State did, right, that affected LSU.
No,
and it was total dominance, and that's exactly the type of performance that we were hoping that we would see from LSU, and they did it from the very get-go, and also they did it throughout the game. That's important too.
Yeah.
Like they never really let up. I mean, one scoring drive really from Mississippi State, and even then they had to convert a 4th down that you had a pretty good opportunity to get the quarterback on the ground on that 4th down. So throughout the game, every phase they dominated.
And you saw a lot of you saw improvement in a lot of the areas that you wanted to. Mason Smith didn't have his big moment this game, but I thought he looked much more comfortable than he did last game. Active hands, getting guys off him. He doesn't open the PBU. He finally gets a tackle at the end of the game. Mason Smith is trending in the right direction. In terms of pass rush in general, it seems like everybody had a big day. I'm trying to, you had Savion Jones with a sack, Mekhi Wingo with a sack, Harold Perkins with a sack, Major Burns with a beast sack run over the running back. Swinson almost had one there at the end. But Harold Perkins, another player who I think looks supremely comfortable out there at that nickel Sam spot. And it's interesting because not only is he starting to play better and better in coverage, it's the second game in a row where I actually like him in coverage when he had his opportunities, but you can still bring him off the edge there if you want, or you can play games where, you act like you are, and you make the defense over-focus on him, and then you end up dropping him. So I feel like, yes, they have found what Harold, and again, some of this is matchup dependent. This is Mississippi State matchup that, like we said, we thought Savion Jones and Harold Perkins and these guys would feast, right? So it's not going to be the case every week. But I feel much more comfortable in how they're using Perkins now, Jake. And like I said, like there's a lot of time that Nick, like he had one play, they try to run a little swing pass to the running back. He's in zone coverage, ends up he has the flat, and his closing speed to get there. And I mean, he was on Marks, and Marks couldn't do a thing. It felt for the first time like you were seeing the lion that used to stalk the tall grass last year on those QB spies. So I feel like Perkins has really started to find himself in that nickel Sam role.
Yeah, and so if he has that role, well, you have to have somebody in the middle that you trust, and that's why like Whit Weeks having a big performance helps you, be able to put Harold Perkins in some different spots. And like you kind of wonder, Omar Spates and his injury, like how long that's been bothering him, because you watch the tape last week, you can tell like he had a hitch in his get up, and so. Okay, well, now you put in a young player. You put in a Whit Weeks, and he definitely flashed. He led the team in tackles, but that's important for two positions. It's important for Whit Weeks' position and also what you can do with Harold Perkins. And Whit Weeks is a player that you want to get more reps. I think he was second on the team. Yeah, he was second on defense in total snaps with 41 on Saturday. And so you let him out. I mean, he wasn't, like, held back. Like, you didn't put him out there just in certain plays and packages. I mean, besides – Braden Swinston, who played 46, Whit Weeks played the second most plays on your defense. And so growing him into that position, and then when you get a fully healthy Omar Spates, it also allows you to get Omar Spates fully healthy.
Yeah.
If you have a player. So like one position, one young true freshman stepping up can help a couple of different positions, and it did for LSU, because I agree with you. Even the one route where Perk was in the end zone in coverage, like he does a really nice job.
And then what do you do the next play?
Sack.
I mean, he breaks up the pass in the end zone, perfect coverage, and then comes with a sack the next play. Like, that's when I talk about him starting to find his way and be comfortable, and you can use him, like all the things we talked about, you can use him in a ton of multiple different ways. And you may say, oh, well, then if he's just on one side of the defense, like if you just want to reduce things, like, well, why don't you just go to the other side if you're the offense? Okay, well, that's still that's equivalent of like a corner shutting down a side of the field, right? That for a defensive coordinator, that allows you to manipulate things if an offense really is just that scared of Harold Perkins and like wants to commit to something that binary. So that sequence was the time when it was like, okay. I mean, that's exactly what you're looking for. I mentioned seeing things that we wanted to, Jake. That initial 3rd and 2 felt very big, right? LSU wanting to establish some sort of rhythm. Yeah. And what did you see? Logan Diggs gets a big block in pass pro, and then immediately, as the O-line was holding up great, but Jane Daniels looking for somewhere to go, can't find anyone. He's kind of dancing around. Logan Diggs comes with a big block, and then what does he do? He gets out on a route. And he becomes that outlet, that little safety valve, and Daniels extends, and right before he's about to get hit, he sees him, finds him, and, well, next thing you know, you're off and rolling. And to be and to be 100% clear, you could see it on the coach's tape. I know the first drive you came with a field goal. Diggs did score on that over the top when he jumped over. The camera angles on the television were blocked, so it just is what it is. But you can actually go ahead and just count that as a touchdown in your mind as well. So LSU, I mean, what would that have been, like first 4 or 5 drives?
Yeah.
Coming out and scoring touchdowns, top of the 10 last week. Again, this offense has been great all year long, save for the 2 bad red zone trips against FSU, the drop and the pick. I mean, everything else in 3 games has been not just good, it's been great. It's been dominant. And again, they got to go in this day, and they just never looked back, man.
Well, one of the things, T-Bob, that we've been kind of picking on them for, at least for me, is running backs in protection. You mentioned it quickly there, and they've been grading out like 11%, 7%. We had a 0%, I think, a week ago. Logan Diggs in 14 pass plays, and I don't know how many were actually pass blocking, but he graded out 80%. Josh Williams, 80%. Noah Cain, 73%. You go down to Caleb Jackson, 71%. Much better job of the backs getting out, checking their protection, not policing the area, and just getting into their route. You know, Frank Wilson and this offense has been preaching that, because it looked like it was a point of emphasis. Like, hey, if your guy's not coming, you got to get out. You're inviting pressure. And so that cleans everything up. Like, that can make your offensive line look worse because you're inviting pressure, and then all of a sudden the back gets stuck up somewhere, and then here comes the green dog, and he hits the quarterback. You're like, oh, offensive line. No, it's really on the back. And so the back getting out into his route, if his guy doesn't come initially, is going to clean some things up. And that's what, also the offensive line did a really nice job, but that's another thing that cleaned up this pocket.
I agree. I mean, it's all over film. I can't remember. I wish you could credit him. One of the running backs at one point just mauled a guy. I have a clip of it on my phone. We can look at it in a little bit. But, so that definitely jumped off the screen to me. in terms of play calling, because, criticism when criticism is due, credit where credit is due. I really like the play calling from Denbrock here. That first 4th and 2, where you start wide, you then shift into kind of a bunch formation, and you just jet sweep, little shovel pass to Malik Nabers. Give it to your best athlete with a ton of lead blockers, and it worked like a charm. And what I would love to see, Jake, if you want to build off of that, if you look at that backside defensive end who's unblocked there, man, it's going to be really tough for that guy if you would do a fake shovel and have Jaden take off on a little naked boot with maybe like a tight end coming off his block, dragging over the top. Like, okay, you put that on film and 4th and 2. Next time, call it, and then you can do that little wrinkle. So there's you're seeing the building blocks of what you can be established.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like out of the bunch, here comes the motion. You fake the shovel pass, and then you roll to your right, and you have the option. You can run, or that tight end can block down for 2 steps, and then whip around and go into the flats and give you an outlet there. Again, like T's talking about, like we were pretty critical of some of the things you didn't do, and now you're starting to see more of getting your athletes in space, like Malik Nabers on a jet that we haven't seen yet.
Yep.
And then things you can build off of that. And so
Caleb Jackson.
Yeah.
I mean, he had another shovel pass at the end. I think it was maybe the play before the truck play.
Oof.
But that truck stick looked even crazier on film too, dude.
Yeah.
Like that thing was abusive.
And the end zone copy.
Oof.
Yeah.
See, I even thought the sideline copy, because I don't know why, because you can see this on TV as well. I didn't appreciate how far the guy flew back.
Yeah.
Like he flew back like 5 yards.
Yeah, the end zone copy for me was how quickly he hit the ground.
Yeah. It's like in Family Guy when somebody falls and it's like when they're standing one frame and the next frame that's immediately on the ground. That was brutal. That was a thing of beauty. It looked like he Kamehameha'd him. Brian Thomas juked a guy into the shadow realm on that 3rd and 6, which, I mean, he snatched that dude's ankles. Everybody's going, get upfield. And then, okay, wait, never mind. Good job. Wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.